I want to share with you one of the greatest lessons I've ever learned from Bob. And when he speaks about it, he says that it was one of the greatest lessons he's ever learned. And I have to admit that when I saw this, well, initially, I did think it was a little silly. And most people do when they first see it. But once you understand the concept behind it, it really was mind-blowing for me. And I hope it will be for you. So when we think of the mind, we are thinking in terms of perhaps the brain. It's kind of the first image that normally comes to your mind. But your mind is not your brain. Your mind is in every cell of your body. And it's what helps us to manifest anything that we want in our lives. But we live and think in pictures. So because there's no picture of the mind, it's really hard to get focused and to know how the mind works. And once you know how the mind works, everything opens up. Everything becomes possible. So I'm going to share this image with you, and it's called the stick person. So this is it here. And so there's not much to it. There's 2 circles and a bunch of lines. But this really makes everything so clear. And when you have clarity, you have focus. So what happens when you accept ideas? There are so many ideas coming at us, basically like a 6-lane highway. So much information. And that information is coming to us by our 5 senses. So they're like little antennae at the top of our head. See, hear, smell, taste, and touch. And that's how we react with the physical world. And we use these sensory factors to enjoy the world and to navigate where we are. But this is not how we do things. This is just how the information is brought to us. So this information is brought to us into our conscious mind. And in our conscious mind, we have the ability to accept or reject any of the ideas that are coming to us. But oftentimes, we do not reject. We accept almost everything that's coming into our conscious mind. And when we accept, we then impress it on our subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is our emotional mind. It's the part of the mind that is the doing. Because once we accept it, it becomes our habit. We live our lives by habit. We are conditioned by habit. 98% of what we do every day is by habit. So, what do we need to know about habits? Habits are our program. And so once we impress it on the subconscious part of the brain, this then moves down into the body. And the body then vibrates at a different speed. And when it vibrates, it is sending out that energy. It sends that energy out to the world. And what happens with the energy that is sent out? It is now our behavior. Our behavior is done in action. And what happens? Action causes a reaction. And that is what is happening with our results. So our behavior then becomes our results. But what happens if you don't like the results? How then do you change? You have to go back and find out what is in that subconscious mind that is making you behave as you do and giving you the results that you're getting. It's quite interesting when you look at it that way, because that means that we have to go back and change those habits, which is almost impossible to do. There's two ways to do it. There's the spaced repetition of a new idea impressed upon the subconscious mind, or an emotional impact, something that just jolts you out of your habits. It could be a health scare. It could be 9/11. It could be anything like that that just kind of makes you realize, I am tired of living the way I'm living and I want to change. Because we all have habits, our conditioning that we might not like, and we can know that just by the results that we're getting. If we don't like the results in our lives, it's due to our conditioning. So you can change it, but it takes a lot of effort and it takes action. Action is the missing ingredient in a lot of people's lives. We can be aware that this is happening, that the thoughts from the outside world coming through our senses is like a power that's flowing through and to us. And we use that power to think the thoughts that we are conditioned. So it's a never-ending loop of the same thoughts. We look at our conditions, those conditions then increase in thought, and that loop just keeps going over and over. But we have the power to change it. When that power comes to us, flowing through and to us, we can use that power and create thoughts. We can create something brand new. We don't have to keep doing the same thing over and over. So when I found out about this philosophy, it really did awaken me to how I was living. Because where did these thoughts come from? They usually come from other people. So these habits aren't even mine. They could be things that I heard as a child from my parents. They could be things that I heard on television. They could be things I heard on the internet or just friends. And if I accept it as true, then it gets impressed upon the subconscious mind. And that means my emotional mind believes it. And when you believe something, you no longer think about it, you just do it. So now we have to figure out, what is it that I don't like? And know that you can change it, but you have to change it the same way you got it, which means spaced repetition. Because when you were 1, 2, 3 years old, all of those things that you were hearing, you heard over and over and over and over and over again. And that's how you created that habit, that conditioning, or what we call a paradigm. But paradigms can be changed. I want you to know how much power you really have, because you have mental faculties. And one of the greatest of the mental faculties is your imagination. Your imagination is so powerful. It's magnificent. And if you tap into that beautiful imagination, you can then create the thought that changes the vibration once it's impressed on the subconscious mind, and your body will start to vibrate at a different frequency, and you will now be in harmony with whatever it is you desire. Action, reaction. It's such a beautiful concept. And I love this stick person because I see now how my mind works. And I have now an image when I'm thinking of the mind. So it makes it much, much easier to be aware of how to change it. So thank you. I hope that this was as inspiring for you as it was for me. If you want to talk any more about the mind, if this resonates with you, send me a DM and we can have a chat and see if my coaching, which is based on this little guy, the stick person, let me know and we can have a chat and see if this program, this coaching that I give is for you. Thank you. Have a great day.